Very good afternoon to all of you. So we have a wonderful panel today with us, and a warm welcome on behalf of Apit family back again for another session of meeting the CEO, or for that matter, meeting one of the CEOs every week with us. And we do have our students today from the postgraduate programs and from undergraduate programs and from the foundation programs, in addition to the guests who are joining us today. And of course, we do have our counterparts from our affiliated university, Staffordshire University. So a warm welcome to all of them. And along with that, we have our chairman who is with us today, in addition to our speaker of the day, Mr. Ravi Jayawardena. So thank you very much for joining all of you. And with that, I would like to invite our chairman, Mr. Bandula Igodage, to share a few words. And we'll start from there. Hi.
Hello, hi, good evening for everybody. Hello, Ravi.
Hi, Bandula.
Hi, Ravi. Yes. On behalf of CEO Mr. Roshan Ekodage and the management and the whole staff and students of EPIT, let me welcome you very warmly. And also, thank you very much for accepting our invitation in spite of a very busy schedule. Especially, Ravi, looking at you and your career, basically the development in you, indeed is a very remarkable and very impressive, I must say. I'm sure all our students will definitely learn and experience your life goals today, because it's on the go that when you are talking about. I'm pretty sure about that. We as EPIT gentlemen, Ravi, wants our students to learn. That is fundamental, basically. Of course, beyond the degree, everyone is coming to have the degree, but it is beyond the degree we inspire love to learn. That is the key factor that we were talking about. And also, with the right learning, we need to develop leadership skill in all our students. So, the ultimate goal is to build leaders for our society. That is why we invite leaders like you to be with them, just to have the practical experience and how you have, develop your career in the right way as the responsible personality. So I'm sure our students will have a very good evening today with your association. So thank you very much for being with us again. Over to you, Dr. Rohan and Kaushali. Thank you very much, Ravi, again.
Thank you. Thanks, Bandula. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Thanks a lot for those words and for that warm welcome. And highlight of the day. So we do have Mr. Ravi Jayawardena, CEO of Maliban Group. Let me hand over to Dr. Rohantha to take over the panel, and we look forward for a very fruitful and an effective and motivating discussion. So with that, over to you, Doctor.
Thank you, Kaushali, and thank you, Chairman, for those very introductory and timely words. I've been knowing Ravi for the last, maybe about 20 years, and he's a outstanding personality. Today running a brand which is 30-40 billion, I think. Chairman, I'm so honored to introduce Ravi. He's the Group Chief Executive Officer of Maliban Group, for Maliban Biscuits, Maliban Milk, and Maliban Agro. He was the former country head of sales at Coca-Cola. He was selected as one of the top 25 key people in Coca-Cola to develop the blueprint in South Africa. And he started his career in the University of Marketing, which is at Unilever, where from sales right up to the overall senior management, he went in an outstanding career. A graduate of PIM, MBA, and the Chartered Institute of Marketing. He's not only just a practitioner, but he also spends a lot of time to conceptualize. He's on the PIM faculty, not only in Sri Lanka, but overseas. I think he travels very often to Dubai. And he was selected by Cambridge University to deliver the effectiveness in thematic advertising and oration, which very few people in Sri Lanka get. Obviously, he's a Platinum Honors winner of PIM, and he's also the Golden Globe Tiger Award Leadership Award for Marketing and Brand Leadership. And of course, he was coveted for exceptional people management, where he was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award by CMO Asia and the People Leader Marketing by the Institute for Personal Management. What is most remarkable about Ravi is that he's a perfect gentleman. I mean, it's very seldom that you get in the business world people whom you have known for 20 years and who are yet such beautiful gentlemen, and that's something that I really like Ravi about. I mean, we have taught together in places, we have worked together, and I mean, we've been very good friends, and I'm actually honored to have you, Ravi, as a guest. And over to you, Ravi. Thank you.
Many thanks, Rohanta, for your wonderful words, and it's a pleasure. Of course, as Rohanta said very clearly, we have been friends for a long time, I think about 25 years. And it's great pleasure to be, and in fact, thank you very much for your very kind introduction. And I like to see Bandula and your two of you taking the leadership on the whole thing. It's absolutely remarkable. That's why when you invited me, I thought, okay, with all my busy schedule, somehow I must, actually I'm skipping a very important event in the evening today to accommodate this event. Yeah.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thanks. Yeah. Rohanta, how we move forward in terms of, I'll give a bit of introduction on the Maliban, how we started, and moving forward, I'll just talk a few minutes, and then you can we can have a bit of a dialogue. I actually joined Maliban in 2009, so roughly about 11 years ago. And during the last 11 years, Maliban has grown tremendously. I must tell you, during the last 5 years, perhaps we have almost doubled the business. Now we are a 24 billion company, and we have more than 3,000 people working. And the main company, the Maliban Biscuit, is the heart of the entire group. Then we have Maliban Milk, Maliban Agri, and even Little Lion is now under Maliban Group. Now, one of the reasons a lot of people ask the question of the turnaround of Maliban, and I must tell you, it's not one individual or a group of people. Actually, it's an entire team, from the chairman, the board of directors, the senior team, up to the factory floor girls who are working in the production, or the sales reps who are working in the market. And that's where the success is, that we actually, as a team, the primary difference what we have done during the 5 to 6 years is that we have done the fundamentals right. And in the most of the cases, that doing the fundamental right is the challenge. I'll give you a few examples on this. In FMCG companies, Ranta, this is something which the distribution is the key. And we were covering roughly about 50,000 outlets when Sri Lanka, roughly has about 140,000 outlets. And directly our sales rep, we are now covering directly plus 90,000 outlets. A very fundamental thing, increase in the distribution, but it takes a lot of effort. And then the second point, when you are distributed, the marketing, the total overall marketing piece. Maliban, I could say, had always a very quality product, because chairman and the board personally get involved in terms of product development and quality. Of course, every day, chairman and the board hits the factory at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they are in the factory for 2 hours. I don't think any company in Sri Lanka, or any company in that format, that matter, in Asia, sort of the board and the chairman hits the factory at 6 o'clock every day till 8 o'clock, looking every element of product quality. And they've been doing it chairman has been doing it for the last 50 years. So even when I joined the company, the product quality was absolutely, it was there. The difference was that the distribution and the marketing piece was not up to the it was lacking. So we really improved that piece. We got a very young set of marketing side and very energetic team. And then backed by all the other departments, the human resource, the finance, we work as one unit. And the people factor, I must tell you here very, very openly, this company has a very open culture. I came from two big multinationals, and I thought working for a local company will be a challenge. And it was a challenge for me for the first 3 to 6 months, to be very frank, to get used to the system. But then I realized that there are a whole heap of advantages when you work for a local company. Now, Rohanta, you and Bandra, of course, you work for big multinationals. It's multinationals have a very good system, processes, individual brilliance. Sometimes it's not counted because the system structure will show most of the time. So, but when you work for a local company, especially at a senior level, your individual brilliance also, not only the group CEO, across everyone, the senior team has a role to play. And so that's something which I have seen the company, the chairman, the board has given a lot of freedom for the professionals to operate. And that's something even in a private-owned company, sometimes you may not get that. So it's there. So it's a huge advantage for people to perform, because you are creating atmosphere for them, the freedom of executing their ideas, their professionalism. So, and the happiness factor, we did a research about like 3 years back. Is now people are working beyond their departmental boundaries, working to achieve common objectives. And so this journey has created a huge business results. And even during the COVID, I must tell you that one of the things when the March, when this pandemic started, the first wave, we had a emergency meeting, I can remember, on the first day itself, and it was a very fine line between the safety and the productivity, for example. So we were very clear. We told the employees the safety first. Absolutely, there is no compromise. Yourself, your family, you have to. So we did everything possible to help them out there. And with that, we realized immediately actually we are in two very blessed categories, biscuits and milk. We knew that there will be a severe demand. A lot of consumers got into the entire country, not only Sri Lanka, I think the entire world was on a panic situation. So there were a lot of consumer pull during that time. So we have to start our production. So there was an interruption about 4 days because most of these factory people were outside Colombo, so crossing the boundaries, we had a challenge. But we coordinated with the government officials, the health department, the police, the external stakeholders. They cooperated very well, I must tell you. And we started production. And one thing I think we did right was that having a mindset when it comes to running the company is a more kind of a service orientation than getting a sale. So everyone say, okay, please service because consumers need stocks, and please do that. Sometimes the distributors send a vehicle only a bit of a distance, only just to serve one order. If you see the operational cost is definitely not match what you earn from that. But we said, just don't worry about that. It came from the top. Just do a service because this is the need of the hour. We cannot commercialize this. It is not a commercial game. And everybody was on that page. And secondly, we told them have a very positive mindset, because you see, whenever you put up on not only local channels across globally, COVID was the main, and it was a lot of negative. People were getting sick, people were dying, and you the entire country get into a negative mindset and in a fear factor. So we told the internal people, we have to take all precautionary measures and we have to move forward, because that is something, because and we gave the confidence, don't worry, because there were rumors there will be salary cuts, there will be job cuts. We told them, don't worry, we will not do um, any salary cuts, and we will not reduce any numbers in terms of people. And that's, we gave that confidence to them. And uh, with that positive mindset, people started, even the sales team. I had a, of course, the factory always, we have taken all precautionary measures, checking temperatures, giving all necessary utensils to look after them. But the sales team who works in the market, of course, always they are getting exposed. But we told not only them, the families, we gave special training for them how to look after them, and gave all the confidence to move forward. I think that was the difference. That's why if you take this year with all the negative sentiments, actually we are growing, we are having the fastest growth. We are growing much faster than the last 3 years, I must tell you. And that is, we've seen that uh, in a it's a mindset and how we execute. If I just summarize the success of post-COVID, was that one is definitely the positive mindset. The second is that speed of action, because sometimes you get into a panicky situation, what to be done, especially the first wave of March and April. It was tough because everything was new to everyone, and we took certain decisions, and we really see some, because you cannot keep on just discussing, because discussions are good, but it is important, the action is more important than the strategy. So you can have a strategy, but the actions are, we were very focused on the action. And thirdly, the flexibility, because there's no there's no formula for this. We don't know what will happen tomorrow, kind of stuff, still this is there. So your flexibility is the key thing. And you cannot be successful what you have been doing during the past, because everyone is experiencing for the first time, right? So those things really help us to come out of the situation, to be very frank. And I'm very happy, entire the team chum, the board, everyone is just pretty happy. Not only us, I could say, our customers are happy, our distributors are happy, and I think we have done a service also when it really matters. Yeah.
Thanks, Ravi. I mean, I think it was a fantastic summary of how, I mean, from the people who have tuned on. There are directors from tea companies. You have your competitors also listening to you, by the way. at the top management level, who called and said that he won't listen to you. So, but anyway, it's fantastic. So, Ravi, what are the key changes you see during the COVID-19? This last 6 months, what are the key changes that you think the market had, which you felt that you all had to change?
Randy, in terms of some key changes in the marketplace, we have seen that the home cooking, if you take the domestic side, the home cooking has increased tremendously. According to AC Nielsen, roughly 2/3 now do the cooking, preparing food. Probably maybe due to fear factor, if I eat from outside, whether it's contaminated kind of stuff. And then getting engaged with a lot of people during the lockdown, especially the first lockdown. It was a more kind of a national lockdown. Got used to being at home, and that's something I think is one way. It is good. You spend quality time with your family, with your children. Suddenly people realize, oh, this is what we have been missing for a long time, and that's something we have seen it changing the entire paradigm of people's lifestyles. Because it really challenged your paradigm, because there's no other option. You have to be at home. So there are two types of things. Sometimes you may feel bored, or the more intelligent people make it more interesting. So you have to, that's something we have seen people getting engaged, a lot of home activities. Uh, I could say about 70 to 80%. And the third thing is online marketing, e-commerce has picked up heavily, plus 30 to 40% people, because again, you compel supermarkets were closed on certain areas, so the grocery outlets, and this door-to-door delivery. The first wave that seen, suddenly that wave came out, and there was a severe, almost like 50 to 60% of people total basket they bought it from door-to-door sort of salespeople. So, from a marketing point of view, when you see that you have to go with this trend, I'll give you one or two examples what we have done during the lockdown. Even now in Sri Lanka, you get certain areas being locked down, and the children especially, because adults can do some computer stuff. You get the children are children. So when they get locked down, they feel much more bored than the adults sometimes. So what we did through our brands, we put a lot of activities, play games and kind of stuff. And one thing we realized again, not to commercialize the event, because when you are in a pandemic, you have to have some kind of you cannot really think, okay, we must try to make a come. So we were more on the new, we stopped all brand communication. We were more on the corporate communication. Again, corporate communication was very much on how to prevent, what are sort of things you can do it to prevent getting COVID, all about COVID. We did some activities with Red Cross, sanitizing schools, that type of stuff. So it's again the brand communication for children also was just games. You just get involved, getting engaged, kind of stuff. So that I think has given us a mileage, and it's a more kind of a social responsibility also in a crisis situation, educating people to overcome this.
Ravi, I mean, coming from a multinational background right through your life, how did you what are the initial adjustments that you had to make when you had to join a family company?
Yeah, sort of. I could say the when you work for a sort of when you come for a big local company, there is the organization structure is also it's there can be certain areas where take it's not black and white, I could say, some gray, because it's and then the system. I'll give you a simple example. When I was at Coca-Cola, the system and processes, we wanted to give a more like the mobile sales executives, from idea generation to execution to give those bikes. It took roughly about 9 months. And that's how the multinationals, this one, your docket goes to different sections, sometimes goes to India, to we were reporting to South Africa at that time, goes, all kind of based on the total value. But here, the same thing, I could say 9 months against 9 days. The proposal and execution, it took only about 1.5 weeks. You can see, so it's because of the especially the multinationals have a lot of check and balances. It's good, but the check and balances can sometimes lead to red tapes also, right? So because you have to have the right balance between the speed of action. Even product launches, if you want to launch a new product, new NPD process, one of the things that we have done during the last 5 years, we have realized that our NPD process 5 years ago, now Charman's daughter handles the NPD process directly. Earlier, Charman was handling. It was not so robust, and NPD was more like a most of the new ideas were coming from the factory R&D. And now we have a beautiful blend. The marketing people bring the insights of the consumer and work with the factory R&D to bring new products. And last 5 years, we were pretty good in our NPD process. So the road to the decision-making process, Rohan, I could say in a local company is much faster, because in terms of but it's the culture itself. One area perhaps I've seen a difference is that when you work for a multinational, you get a lot of input. When you have a problem with your product or any area, you get the center support. You get the center support because there you have a big brother in India or in another country. I can remember any product development, communication stuff. There's a lot of expertise in the network. But when you work for a local company, you have to do your own stuff, right? So you have to do your own stuff. So that's a challenge. That's a challenge. But on the other hand, it helps to people to develop because your creativity comes out. I can remember. I don't want to mention brands. Certain multinational brands, the marketing piece actually comes from overseas. In the framework, you have to do or you know that the entire thing. The local creativity can get um, controlled to a certain level. So, so it's quite a challenging thing, but I enjoyed it, to be very frank. My advice when you work for a local company, from a multinational, going to a new company, or even from one company to another, my biggest advice is that it can be from a local company to another local company, especially for the students who are looking for that kind of thing, is that get used to the culture. That is very important. You are part of it. You cannot change. The org culture is much bigger than you. It's like in cricket. Cricket is bigger than one single player. The game is bigger. So you have to understand. I've seen some people saying, okay, I am bigger than the org culture, I can change. You can change, but it takes time. It takes time. It's a lot of team, a lot of people get has to. So it's a journey. So the first 3 to 6 months, when you go to a new job, it can either make your career or break your career. So it's very important. The faster you get adjusted, the better it is.
I mean, how? A lot of people, you know, they want to get into graduate school, move out of graduate school. They like to do a master's, and they want to get into a white collar job kind of a thing. But you and I and Bandula, we started our life on the field.
Yeah.
We worked on the field, visiting outlets to outlets. So, how important is that sales view of sitting in your chair right now?
Oh, yeah, I think that's, I think you're spot on. I think sales experience counts a lot at a higher level. You know why? Because Ranta, you gave that example. You go from outlet to outlet, and five different scenarios, and 10 outlets, 10 different scenarios. So one of the key things you learn in sales is the flexibility, and adjust your game based on the situation. That really helped me in my career, to be very frank. That flexibility. The more you become rigid, you will not go up. So that flexibility, the core value, because sales is something, the environment. Because if you take, I'm not putting down any other department. The sales people face a situation on a daily basis completely different. Every maybe 20 minutes they can get into the frontline staff get into a different situation every 20 minutes. But if you are in an office environment, you can see it's still there is a change, but of course the speed of different environments is not as big as in sales. So to survive in sales, you have to have that adjustability, do the right thing, and there's no proper. Of course, there's a basic guideline, and that especially during COVID, that helped me immensely, to be very frank. Because here the adjustability is a thing. You don't know what is going to. There was a time. Now things have more settled down. You don't know what the next 1 hour is going to be, right? That we were living in that kind of course, not only in Sri Lanka, I think across the world that happened. So that's really helpful. I think sales. My advice to the people who are in other departments, especially for the MBA students, get some sort of a stint in sales management also. Like Unilever, for example, they put marketing, not only marketing, sometimes supply chain people to work in sales, human resource people to work in sales, and why they do that, to give that rounded off exposure. I think that's crucial. Yeah.
Your stint in South Africa, can you just throw light on what did you actually do uh, when you were picked to that team to relook at that whole South African model?
Uh, we were picked about 25 people. Myself and Dusty was there. And what we actually, they did a blueprint for Coca-Cola South Africa, the marketing plan. And it was roughly about, I think, if I remember right, about 2.5 months, roughly about 75 to 80 days. And the team was, uh, the 25 people came from about 16, 17 countries. And we actually did market research from a research up to the final blueprint. I'll give you an example. I went to the market as not as Coca-Cola people. We with a research company guy. They say, okay, we went to houses, spend quality time about understand the beverage behavior, right? And so it is not like that you go and have a bit of a question and answer session. We say, okay, we come from research company. We like to have lunch with you today. So we go at 10 o'clock, spend till about 2, 3, really getting into the fabric of the consumer's lifestyle. And by doing that, spending that quality 5 hours, we observe their drinking pattern, living styles, from where they purchase, why they purchase, the core reason, who is the decision maker. Amazing information. So the entire 25 people were scattered in different groups. So that was a starting point, getting the fundamentals of the whole thing. And then we had so many sessions to do the final marketing blueprint. It was a fascinating experience. It was fascinating experience.
So Ravi, now I mean currently one of the biggest problems we have in the world of marketing is that the people can't go into the retail out to consumers to get research data. So because of these issues that are there, and we also have Nielsen pulling out of the retail panel.
Yeah.
Uh, how I mean how are you all adjusting to these two situations?
Yeah, of course, certainly. The last 6 months, you're absolutely right. I think this particularly, both the consumer panels and the retail panels were very much because home visits also been controlled to a large extent. So there are a couple of information now coming from online stuff, because the one thing the research company is also now trying to do is, rather than visiting, having developing this like what we are having now. There's no physical interaction; it's online thing, and getting information. Uh, and then, especially from supermarkets, the modern trade side, the EPOS data, electronic point of sales data, that really is so very much authentic. Sometimes consumers say I may buy, I'm buying this product because of these reasons, but she may really behave differently when she hits the grocery or the supermarkets. But sort of the supermarkets, certain supermarkets really share their category information, and they give a lot of when you analyze, when you do sort of data mining, you can see a lot of relationship, why, what sort of products they buy, and what's the core reason of buying and things like that. So that is very authentic, because that's what she has bought already. Those are EPOS, electronic point of sales data. Otherwise, I think we have to go on like this for a couple of, at least few months in the coming new year also. But hopefully all indications are there. Year 2021 will be a year of settlement. Things will settle, because any pandemic, if you go through this years, will not continue for 2 consecutive years. It's very, very unlikely. So this year it's across the world, but next year hopefully things will be much better. But going back to your one, is that those are the two areas we are looking at. But uh, and then, because this year I have not seen anyone giving, as you said, AC Nielsen is going out of retail now. So there's a vacuum from there. But the retailers collecting information, I'm talking about these mom and pop shops, will be a challenge for any company in the next few months for sure. Absolutely.
Ravi, you in the first wave, you know, like 20th they close companies. You're back on base by when? Like 25th you started work? 25th, 26th?
Yeah, sort of. We 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 started work around 27. So
27.
yeah, very
So
much.
my question, Ravi, is now at that time none of us knew what this COVID was, and you know what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
mean, they didn't know whether it was a huge elephant or whether it was a small bug, you know. But then you, as a CEO, ultimately you had to, the buck stops with you, and you had to make a call saying, better to end on your kumala, you know. So now, now, I mean, you don't know whether they will die, right? But then you had to take a decision between money to get to pay their salaries and and about safety.
Yeah.
So you had to take that decision. You know, how hard was that decision?
Yeah, it is pretty tough. I must tell you that the board, so it's managing director, the chairman's daughter, and of course, and the chairman, and we have 8 to 10 GMs. We had a couple of meetings, and our primary objective was exactly a spot on the safety, and then how to get that safety, because the safety also the knowledge what we are having now, and at that time there was a gap, right? And then we got from worldwide communication. I think the entire world but the Western world, I think, had some kind of a clue at that time, and our health department was pretty good. They guided us even at PHI level. These are the things that you should do, because the health department people said if you bring the people to work, this is the framework, and we actually stick to one thing. We get the things from the experts, the knowledge base. So the local health authority, backed by some international, some knowledge, but the health people say you bring the girls under these circumstances. You are distancing even in the factory. We redesign the factory, keeping the right distance, and our productivity dropped, but having 80% productivity or 75% productivity is better than having no production. Our production cost went up, but we have to do that. And in fact, when SLSI came for inspection for COVID certification, I'm proud to say, Rovanta, that we are the first foods company to get that
Yeah.
SLSI certification on COVID. We have taken all precautionary measures. Even the girls who are staying in their boarding place, our human resource team did a wonderful thing. Because these girls stay with a lot of other girls who are working in other companies, and especially this time, we went to the next level. They now 95 to 98% of our girls who are working in the factory stay only Maliban people stay together. Otherwise, the contamination can happen from a girl who is working in the garment sector, for example. So we go down to that level. Transportation has been given. We took all the precautionary measures. So people who are having vehicles, they come to work, but cut the interaction. Even the public transport was dicey at that time. So we gave transportation for all the other people, and even the groceries we gave it. You don't have to go to the market to buy your groceries. Not only the biscuits, the rice, the other stuff, the vegetables, etc. So it was an all-round effort, I must tell you. We went into all the details to protect these people. Then they got confidence. But despite of that, still, I can remember, or even still, there are few reps. The parents were saying, "Don't go to work because of things," and we told them, "Okay, it's their call." But we really, because if anybody, we don't want to see people working under tremendous pressure. But we, instead of using the pressure, Ranta, we did more kind of a persuasion. They get confidence, because it's a confidence building thing. They see what the action we have taken, and they feel confidence. Okay, this is a place. We openly say that. Even I can tell you, Ranta, you will be extremely. It's like your home here.
Yeah.
The safety parameters we
No,
are taking.
actually, Dr. Siddhika told me, Ravi, that Maliban was one of their easiest customers to give the certification because your standards were very, very high. Um, uh, so, Ravi, with all these kinds, I mean, you're running 3, 4 companies, not only just the Maliban, but I mean, how do you take time to go and teach? I mean, you even go to Dubai to teach on masters. I mean, it's I have seen you. I mean, every weekend you and I used to teach. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Good old days.
wherever we worked, we used to come. I remember, you know, when I was chairman of, I think, tourism. You know, you had to travel a lot, but I'll come back on a Friday evening in time for the Saturday class. You know, it's a
Yeah.
commitment. But I'm just asking you is what makes you want to do this yet?
Oh, yeah, because you know that I've been lecturing for the last, you and I think for the last probably 15 years plus, 20 years plus. That's like a hobby for me, really, to be very frank. And that gives a huge personal satisfaction. And like you and I are coming from one of the sort of corporate practitioners, and students also appreciate when they like, you know, we are not 100% academics. You know, we have our academic background, but we are more practitioners, I think, especially at master's level. I think that's very crucial to have the practical side of the whole thing, because MBA, for example, is a very practical thing, and then you feel very happy. I know you have the same sentiments, so that when your students do well and you're helping somebody to uplift their careers, and it's absolutely a huge personal satisfaction. So I actually do that as a person, you know, mainly for my personal satisfaction. That's one something that's really delights me when I see students doing well in life. Getting through the exam is just only a part of it. Actually, it's not the big picture. The biggest thing is that when you see them doing, I can remember when we were doing CIM, I still meet some of the students who have done exceptionally well in their life, even better than me. So then you feel really proud of them. You know,
Yeah.
that's the ultimate desire. So I will actually do. I know you also have the same thing, and I'll do it continuously. I somehow managed my time to do that.
Thank you, Ravi. In fact, when I asked you, can you come and do a small session? I mean, there was no question of where and how and nothing. You know, I will do it. You know, so thanks. So, Ravi, tell me something. Isn't the highest amount of consumption of biscuits is in Sri Lanka?
um, I do not have a very authentic global statistics. Yeah, it looks like. I think definitely we are within the first five. That may be for sure. Because if you take roughly about 9,000 tons of biscuits consumed, 8,000 plus on a normal month. So average, so 22 million people. If you take per capita consumption per se, it's pretty high, pretty high. So uh, definitely we are within the because if you take India, our neighboring country, uh, you know there are a lot of snacking items, you know, across. But here, biscuit has become the main snack. Okay, we do have other snacks, but biscuit is the core of the whole thing. That has been traditionally there. So every
Is it
household, I think, has milk, has biscuits now. Yeah.
so? Is it fair to say that you are the highest contributor to diabetic?
uh, what we do is that actually there was some interesting statistics on this side. Since you raised this question, Ron, I think it's very pertaining. Average, it was published, I think, it's a government thing. 30 kilos of sugar is consumed by average Sri Lankan per month, and from confectionery. I'm not talking about biscuit here. Is the biscuit, chocolates, the ice creams, the whole works. Actually, it comes only about 3 kilos out of 30. So very small element. The biggest element, quite surprisingly, comes from tea drinking, because average Sri Lankan drinks about 4 to 5 cups of tea, or at least 4 cups. And a lot of people use sugar heavily. And that's a huge consumption. Out of 30 kilos, roughly about 12 kilos come from drinking tea. So we actually work with not only Maliban, the entire industry, or all the other companies got involved told the health department also sometime back when we went for the color code insistence that we will help the diabetic problem, because the core issue we have to understand here, our lifestyles, the food consumption. Confectionery is a very minute thing, I can tell you with a lot of confidence, with hardcore facts. People should, like you and I, when we were small, we were playing, cricket and, a lot of games. So, we had a study life and a leisure life, and especially sports. But now if you take a kid, first the 5-year scholarship, and then till getting to the university, it's actually, and always on the phone. So very, very sedentary, physical activity is very much limited. And that leads from a small days, so there are a lot of other elements that comes into that. So education of educating the people on that is extremely, extremely important factor. On the other hand, from a biscuits point of view, we have seen now less sugar products, more healthy related product, not only in the biscuit category. We have seen in all foods categories that is now growing like in the Western world.
So Ravi, I mean, you have come to a level where a lot of people aspire to be. So where do you go from here? I mean, you have been to, I mean, academically you have gone into be a guest orator at Cambridge. You have ventured starting from field. You have gone to South Africa to set up business for the world's largest brand. You have not only proven your skill in multinationals, but you have joined family companies where a lot of people say multinational guys do never fit in, but you have gone there and you have done it. So what next, Ravi?
When I meet you, I'll tell you. I'm just this is very clear. This will be my final job, to be very frank. And
nonsense. I mean, by the way, I mean, I must tell you a secret. I went to Facebook to take some photographs of you. So I told Kaushali also, and I couldn't find any photo. Then I went to LinkedIn, and the people who have looked at your, the people who have viewed your account, your LinkedIn. Well, it happens to be number 1 and number 2 in the country.
Oh,
yeah, I'm serious.
Oh, right.
Yeah, GRS, you know what I'm saying. So I think they are marking you for a bigger job. I don't know. Maybe you might go as Chairman Lanka Sathasa, and I will come to you now this time around. Ravi, I mean, see, it's a crime your kind of talent. The country requires you more right now. So, you need to get, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to talk about it.
You are right. I must tell a small qualifying statement here. If there is a sort of, not for really a monetary gain, to be very frank, if there is a forum where, like, you and I can get involved, like sort of to uplift the bigger company, sort of to help the sort of country and the people getting involved in the fabric of some area in the thing, immaterial of I could say the color of the party or whatever it is. It's our duty, Rohan, and you and myself, is to help the country, and this is the time to do that. And because we are going through a tough time because of the pandemic situation, which is beyond not only Sri Lankan control, the world control. So definitely I don't mind helping on while doing this job completely on a non-commercial innovation, because Maliban looks after me pretty well. So and it's a more kind of like education in terms of more satisfactory thing. I know that you have contributed different areas in, and I can remember the time that you were with Satusa and some very exciting experience. I don't want to share that in public forum. And that's a challenge we do have when you work in a technically you call it a public sector, but definitely I think the current situation also they're trying to harness the cream of the talent and put them in there and get their knowledge also. It's just one of the obligations I think we do have, but it's always I have not closed that completely, but whenever there's an opportunity, I'm very much. I think it's part of our Bandul also. I know for sure is doing that, and because you and I we don't have any other hidden agendas, we make it very sort of clear thing. Our main objective is to help the country, help the people. So that sort of thing is always there. Even after retiring from here, I may not work for another corporate company. I'm telling you, definitely not. I don't have any intentions right now to do that.
Ravi, are we aware that the budget said that you can work up to 60 years now? So, I mean, that is the best budget proposal I've seen in my life. But I mean, I remember so much when I was chairman of Lanka Sattasa, and I mean, I remember in 6 months we turned around a 32 billion business, and I must thank you personally, Ravi. Every time when I had an issue, I used to come to you, and you used to tell me, no, Rohanta, no, you have to run, you have to move on. And I'll never forget that. And it's lovely chatting with you, Ravi, and hosting you today. It's a beautiful discussion. There are a lot of questions that have come on our chat, Ravi. I'd like to hand over to Kaushali before Bandul takes over for the final question. Kaushali, would you like to throw the questions to Ravi, please? Thanks, Ravi. Thank you. Great stuff.
Thanks, Rohan. Thank you very much.
Honor. Kaushali, over to you.
I've been listening to you. I did not understand the whole humanistic side of it until I listened to you today. Because we always go to the supermarkets, we do see Maliban and we bring it up and come back home. That's been our automatic responses as public. But I believe for the students, this will be a wonderful platform to see how come that you go beyond that. And how come that you go beyond that to make sure that our intention unconsciously or not knowing exactly what's going on, we pick up a biscuit, which is Maliban. And I have seen certain customers even going to the point of, I'm going to bring a Maliban and come. So it's to plug that, it takes a lot of effort, and your talk today adds up a lot into that. So when I started reading the questions that are coming in today, Mr. Ravi, it's all in line with this purpose. It's all in line with how do you make this change, right? So with that, let me go into the questions. The first one that has been sent to us I'm sorry we don't have the attendant's name, but the concern is, what was your ambition when you were new to the industry?
At that time, of course, my ambition was coming from Coca-Cola. Actually, I didn't come direct to Maliban. I was doing a bit of teaching stint in Australia for a short period and then came here. My ambition was really, because Maliban was going through a bit of a challenging period at that time. Mainly just to get a bit of a grip of the whole category first. Of course, getting used to the companies is the most crucial. As I told you earlier, the first 3 months was getting used to the company, getting used to the people, getting used to the system. Of course, getting used to the product was very much secondary at the start. Understanding the whole how Maliban does work. And immediately after about 3 to 4 months, realized, okay, so that time, okay, now understanding. But I was blessed in one way because Unilever, Coca-Cola, and Maliban all in FMCG category. So I didn't come from a non-FMCG background. So fundamentally, the FMCG fundamentals are the same. You have to have good products backed by good advertising, and the distribution. And they're sort of working all departments together as a sort of, it's like So the whether you work for Unilever or Coke or here was that. So getting into a new category was not a very much alien to me, of course. So it was very quick that I got adjusted to that. Yeah. So it's not a big challenge.
Wonderful. So moving to the next one, talking about Coca-Cola and Little Lion. So the question is, can you please give us an insight about the acquisition of Little Lion brand? And how do you differentiate between Little Lion and Maliban brands from company perspective?
Uh, Actually, Little Lion was Charman's own company, so Maliban Charman's 100%. So now it's in the Maliban group. One of the things that we decided to buy, the main reason was a strategic alliance. Little Lion is more on the bakery, the chocolate rolls, that's category. So we are in the biscuit and cookie category. So it's a more complementary. Say, for example, the bakery range. We have seen that the bakery side also, because Maliban will never come out with a set of bakeries or the bakery range like bread pastries and things like that, cakes under Maliban brand name. And so we redefine now. So we are not in biscuits itself, we are in the confectionery. When you are in the confectionery business, you have to have the right range. So it's a more broader perspective to the business. So that's the main reason we bought over, because that's a beautiful strategic fit to the Maliban confectionery definition.
Right. And there is another question taking all of us back all the way to Renu Happened Rasabala. So the question is, we would like to know the story behind Minute Maid by Coca-Cola. How did you sensibly branding, I think the question has to be, how did you sensibly branded and experiential marketing in the workplace there?
Oh, the Milk Maid at that time, why we launched, because in the fruit juices, when we did the research, we said, okay, you have in Sri Lankan market that there are a lot of fruit juices and good brands also. But the fundamental difference is that when you make orange juice at home, the freshness has a direct correlation where you have the pulp, you call it Reno, right? And because the fresh juice always have that. And so when you have Reno in the normal drink, if it's in a packed drink, always that freshness comes into that. So that was the key, I could say the USP. Fortunately for us, globally they were doing that. So our R&D didn't have a big challenge. We just bought it. So we got the pulp and inserted it, mainly based on that, because we wanted to, because people love to drink fresh juice. And so how close that to the fresh area. So that is because it gives a perception, and that's a reality also. And it worked beautifully. And now Minute Maid is, I think, globally. I don't know how Coca-Cola in Sri Lanka are doing on that, but globally Minute Maid is within the first three in the world.
Right. So moving to the next question, Mr. Ravi, do you believe in product diversification in this pandemic situation?
In this pandemic situation, yes, of course, if you take Maliban, we have sort of the first 6 months, we haven't done much in our pipeline NPD process. We made it a bit of a slow sting by design, because you can't keep on introducing new product. There are a lot of restrictions in the marketplace, distribution restrictions, communication restrictions. But it's more kind of a consolidation situation. But hopefully, time to come now, things will get eased out in the first quarter. There we will come out with some new product. It's kind of it's a two-way thing. Sometimes the product diversification, especially in the health and wellness category, is a crucial thing, because that's it was there, but this pandemic has given more reason for people. Now I think people are more educated also on that line. So definitely there is an important factor. And the why it is so important is that people's behaviors we have seen now changing, because you are exposed to a global communication platform. So they are more educated now, consumers. So we have to really, the product innovation is one of the key things for any companies for success here.
Indeed. Now that we have been talking about the biscuits and the trends in culture, so the question, next one in line is snacks of Europe or in the USA, we can see is mostly fast food. However, we can see in Sri Lanka is it's mostly biscuits. Is it cultural thing as you think, or is it a cost of the fast food?
Um, I think sort of, yeah, in countries like US and the Western world, you have they have been having multinational fast food chains like McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Hut, and things like that. Of course, Sri Lanka also the last 10 years. Um, and then one of the things is the lifestyle. The people now, husband and wife is working, and then you tend to go for fast food because of a convenience factor. The biscuit is why, because take for example, Maliban started 75 years ago, and biscuit being one of the, during my small days, like biscuit was the key thing. Of course, we were having fast foods, not in international, multinational chains from the bakery, like stuff, the corner bakery. So, but one significant thing, as Rohanta we were discussing, the per capita consumption of biscuit is very high. It's part of our life. I think if you take the rice, the bread, and the consumption of fast food stroke biscuit categories is pretty big. But in Western world, I think fast food category is definitely bigger than the cookie and biscuit category because of the sheer penetration, and they started the trend some years ago. But here, Sri Lanka also, I think this trend, the biscuit being a part of the consumption of the consumers will remain for a long period because habits won't change, in a shorter period.
Right. So we have Ruvini Karyavasan and wanting to say hi to you. At the same
Hi,
time, asking the question, would online deliveries continue to hit a high, or would customers start going back to the stores for shopping, in your perspective?
Online deliveries will thrive, I think, because one of the things is that the pandemic really helped to do that because people didn't have a choice. But one thing, the online deliveries, that's a convenience thing. The convenience, and one thing for the brand owners we have to be careful is that people will order online, and the brand equity counts there, because a person who goes online will not order unknown product. So it's very important because when you go to the store, you see something you are buying for the first time because the touch and feel thing is there. So from a marketing point of view, it's a very important trend that you try to understand is that when people go online, they order online products that they know these brands, at least they know those vendors. So that trust has to build. So and that will continue, and that's for sure. Even once the pandemic settles, I'm pretty confident that the online will thrive, and we have seen that in the Western world very much.
Right. So before we move on to Chairman's question, he had been telling from the beginning, I have a question which I would ask at last. But our last question for the day, having the perspective of food industry challenges in mind, what is your stance on the network marketing? Is it good industry to start a business?
What, network marketing?
Network marketing, yes.
Yeah, I think sort of what we have seen from a marketing angle. I'll give you a simple example. 10 years ago, Rohanta will know, we were more putting higher budget on above the line like TV, radio, and press. Still, we do put a significant one, but it's the trend now has gone more towards below the line, where shop activation, sampling, etc. And the fundamentally the social marketing, the e-commerce, that side, the companies are putting more emphasis now, like Facebook, because everyone has a phone and you dangle with the phone, and so we have to go with that trend. So that is where the network marketing will count a lot, because the opinion leaders in the social media, it's very important. One opinion leader comes, it spreads like wildfire. So you have to, the more the positive that is better for your brand, the more the negative is not good for you. So you have to manage that. So what we also done, the professional team is managing it. That's very crucial, and that will go from strength to strength. So the traditional media will have a challenge trying to come. Already we have seen that, and so this is something we have to go with the trend, and that for sure.
Wonderful. So with this, Chairman, for your dying question.
No, it's not really the dying question, Kaushali. I have a comment and I have a question also for Ravi.
Yeah.
Ravi, honestly, I'm very happy bringing you here, not because of anything else, for the benefit of the students. And you well explain yourself, first of all. And in fact, you basically express in a dynamic way marketing, sales as together as a CEO's role. And you demonstrated the depth that you have in within you, the knowledge overall, because it is important not for you, basically for the students who are following you as the leader. So that is the whole objective. I think we achieved that objective, Ravi. And also the key thing that I had to say that for the students, and you love to teach and you love to, that's your passion. So it is very encouraging for everyone being having a so sophisticated and busy schedule, and still you find the way to teach them. It's very encouraging for the teachers, our teachers, as well as the students. So, okay, knowing the answer of this question, I'm still asking for the benefit for the students. Is the fact that you have a brutal competition. How do you look at it? You like competition? Is a threat for the competition, or you encourage competition? I know you answer, but still for the benefit of the students that I'm asking. So
yeah, I must tell you, like, it's a good question. Always competition is good, and we respect the competition. And if you take Munchie is a very well run company and a very professionally run company, and we really respect that. And other than Munchie, you have there are a lot of 30 smaller companies or 30 plus smaller companies who sells biscuits. Like, for example, Murali's family has 3 companies, and these companies also have survived for the last 56 years. So they also have their own competitive advantage. So this market is, though 2 players has together a very high market share, so always what my personal feeling is that you have to respect the competition, learn from them, see, because this is a market is very wide and dynamic. So every time you improve your overall performance, not only product quality, everything you do, that is good for you, good for the company, good for people. So I think competition helps the consumer also, because we each other try to raise the bar. And when you raise the bar, who benefits? The consumer benefits, the country benefits. So that's good, because competition drive you to give your best. That's why countries don't like to see monopolistic situation, because you can get into a very complacent situation. When you have a healthy competition, you cannot get into a sort of complacency, and then you keep on improving on yourself. So everybody's doing it. The competitor is doing, even the smaller guys, what we have seen. When I joined the company 9-10 years ago, and now I have seen how the smaller guys have improved, overall performance. So it's an interesting game. It's an interesting game. I have seen it at Coca-Cola, how Pepsi fights with us globally, and even at Unilever. So it's very, very exciting. Higher the competition, higher the excitement is.
Absolutely, yeah. That you answered that. I was expecting that, Ravi, but I don't know. Once again, for the benefit of the startup, the people, the students, that they are thinking of all the aspects. So, in fact, you have I don't know whether Rohan has any other questions, but in fact, you made a day today for our students, and this as our expectation. So we'll meet up personally. But thank you very much, Ravi, from management and the board of Epic University. Rohan, over to you, Rohan.
Thanks, Chairman, and thank you very much, Ravi. It was beautiful chatting with you. I mean, you have such a array of experience which everybody can relate to. It could be us, it could be a student, it could be a person at very high board level. There are things to pick up, and when I look at my WhatsApp messages, I'm getting thoughts of people who are all the way in Seychelles writing to me and saying, I mean, it was fantastically insightful. There are people studying across the world, Ravi, on this program. So
Okay.
they're all listening to you actually. So I mean, it's great to have people like you in the corporate world that has time for to grow others. So thank you so much again. Really appreciate.
Thanks, Rohan. Thank just one small thing. I'll just take 1 minute for the students' benefit. Is that the students, you're on a journey and you want to do well in life. My personal advice to you is that uh, have a vision for yourself. See, okay, you're doing MBAs, you're doing a lot of educational qualifications. That is just a part to achieve your final vision, and that's something you have to have a very clear picture what's your destination is, and what you want to achieve in life. My advice is don't um, look for a career exciting that really uh, makes you exciting. Don't go behind money. And Rohanta knows that, and Bandhu knows my fundamental career. I'm a sales and marketing person, and I enjoyed every minute of it, though I'm now a group CEO. So that really helped me to achieve this. So don't um, accumulate qualification to get a higher salary. It will eventually happen, but do something that put your heart and soul where you enjoy your studies, you enjoy what you do. When you enjoy what you do, you will do well in life. And while doing that, have a plan. Okay, this is what I want to achieve, and that will give you a personal satisfaction. First, you have to satisfy yourself. That is important. So, getting views from your friends, your parents, your spouse, from your lecturers is good. But you have to talk to yourself and say, hey, is this the journey that I should be? Because in the end of the day, that's your career, that's your life. So, that's very important. What you do should synchronize with your personality. Number two, this is one part of learning. Inside MBA, you will learn. Do continuously upgrade your knowledge. Have that hunger. Don't say, okay, now I have done this, I'm done. No, not like that. That's very important, because on that journey, having that new knowledge will always help you. And finally, have a very positive frame of mind. End of the day, your destination, the winning or losing, will not depend on, it's like a cake. Having qualification, having experience is a cake, but icing on the cake is having positive energy. And we have seen during COVID, the more we think positively, okay, it's a challenge, but I will move forward, whether there's a whole heap of opportunity coming up. So life is all about that. So my sincere advice is that don't worry about failures. You get up and walk. I have done a lot of mistakes in my life, but I keep on moving forward. But my strike rate is good because I always see, okay, so faster you recover from a mistake and move forward. Don't regret about the past. Just think about the future. Think about the good things. There are a lot of positive things. Some people say Sri Lanka has very few opportunities. No, there are a whole heap of opportunities. So you have to have that mindset. And that positive mindset is very crucial, because in our education system, we teach a lot of technical stuff, but not the softer skill area, which is very, very crucial to achieve your final objective. Be happy and don't worry about of mistakes or failure. You learn and move forward, keep on moving forward. And then you'll be light and you will do well in life. And that's my sincere advice to all of you, the students who are listening. I wish all the best. I hope this 1 hour help to get some knowledge for you to enhance your career, and more importantly, to enhance your overall, to achieve your overall life goals. And I must thank Rohanta, Bandula, Kaushalya, and the APIT team for organizing this wonderful event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ravi. And that last bit that you said is the Olympic spirit.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, this morning we had a meeting. I sit on the Olympic committee, so I've been listening to this rhetoric, and they call it the joy of winning. And what you just now shared in the last 1 minute is essentially the joy of winning, which books never teach. You know, whatever books you read, you never learn that. So, I mean, that is the real essence of a leader. So yeah, I mean, you can see the maturity of Ravi Jayawardena. That last minute, what he said is what an Olympic athlete tells. So I'm really honored, Ravi. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Socially.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ravi.
Yes,
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.
Indeed, indeed. It's wonderful to have because in academic perspective and in platforms, students do tend to focus a lot on how do I get my grade, how do I get my exam passed, or how do I get through this tough life. And what you spoke today is more than enough for them to start over, and especially during this time when they're having their online learning, to think through and see, okay, where do I fail and what can I learn out of it? And spot on as to what we discussed. And thank you very much for this contribution. And we look forward to reconnect with you sooner or later to have this discussion and to continue this discussion for the betterment of students. So on behalf of APIT family, let me thank you again, and that concludes our session for the day. So we hope to see you back again in another forum with another guest to share the purpose and the learning. So good evening to all of you, and we would say bye from here.
Good evening. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Thanks, Ravi.